Even though there are millions of women using birth control, there are still a lot of birth control myths out there.
So today, Dr. Wendy Goodall McDonald is here to help us sort fact from fiction.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us, Dr. Wendy.
Thank you for having me.
Such an important topic.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of women are not aware of the reproductive health.
Absolutely.
And I learned that as I was going through my infertility journey. So much I did not know.
That's right.
Are you surprised about that when they walk into your office?
No, I'm not, because the education about healthcare is lacking, unfortunately, in this country and probably all over the world. But that's why we're here to talk about it, because I think myth travels faster than fact, honestly.
Yeah.
And the first one is, does birth control cause infertility?
So it does while you're using it.
That's it.
Because that's the whole point, right?
Right, that's what it's supposed to do, right?
It would be bad if it didn't.
Right. If it made you more fertile, it's not serving its purpose. But it does not cause infertility when you stop using it.
Okay.
And so the thing that I always tell my patients is a 35-year-old who's been using birth control for 15 years is just as fertile as a 35-year-old who's never used birth control.
Okay.
However, both of those women are less fertile than a 25-year-old.
Yes.
Age is the biggest determining factor about our fertility journey. And of course, there are other issues, medical issues like endometriosis and fibroids and things that can actually contribute to infertility. But the fact of if a person is using birth control, they're not going to be less fertile when they stop using it than their matching counterpart.
So if you're not releasing the eggs, are you storing up more eggs?
See,
do I have more eggs to give?
I thought
It sounds like good math, right? But you don't, because we still lose eggs every month because our bodies are just, the function of the ovaries is to renew, but also to kind of purge out, eggs that are not being used. So that still happens even if we're not ovulating. So a person who's used, birth control for 40 years is not gonna still have all their eggs that they had.
And the other thing too is that I learned through that journey was women are born with all the eggs they're ever gonna get.
That's so
the
true.
day you come out, that's it, babe.
That's it. That's your total amount. But it's 400,000 eggs we start with, okay? We don't need 400,000 eggs. So we do lose about 1,000 a month when we are of menstruating age, but that'll still carry you through to usually 45 to 55, depending on the time that a person goes into menopause. But all this stuff is really important, especially for people who have difficulty with their periods. I see a lot of adolescents who have really bad periods, or they have really bad, symptoms related to their period, PMS. And sometimes birth control can help that, but it's not uncommon for a person's mother or father to be concerned, well, is this going to later lead to infertility? And it won't.
And let me guess, I'm sure that men continue to develop and make sperm their whole life, don't they?
All the time.
They do.
All right.
All right, so let's move on to another myth that all birth control works the same.
It's a great myth that people often think, but it's not the case. And so some birth control, say a pill, or even a depot shot, is going to stop you from ovulating. You won't release an egg, okay? However, something like an IUD is going to actually block sperm transmission and actually block implantation. And so that is an important distinction, because some people will have side effects with the pill or with certain types of birth control, but they may not have side effects with other types of birth control because they work in completely different ways.
I have a follow-up question. So with the IUD, that's a foreign object inside of your body 24/7. I mean, does that cause problems? I mean, is it going to cause an infection?
It's a reasonable question, but it doesn't. The 99% of people who use IUDs have no complications as a result. Now, the uterus, the actual uterine environment, is actually meant to not have anything in there, including sperm, and actually semen. Truly.
It fights, girl.
It fights. Let me tell you.
They fight.
What you know is, and so those inflammatory cells are supposed to be in there to block out anything.
Yes.
What happens with an IUD is it actually recruits more of those. So it just it levels up what our body already does.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
good to
I
know.
learned that they fight.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so that's why the sperm has to be good.
It has to be good.
You can have a lot of it.
It's got to be Muhammad Ali.
Oh yes,
that
it does. Because if you're not good, you can't beat all of the in the uterus and all that uterine
the acidic environment, all of that. And there are even now birth controls that actually ante up that acidic environment that even the vagina has. So, and that's why we should all know that we're all bosses, because we are the sperm that made it through. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yes, we are. So The other thing that a lot of people are afraid of is the hormonal component of birth control, and that's really the only way it works.
Right. So there are people who want to avoid hormones. Maybe somebody who has a significant family history of ovarian cancer or certain types of breast cancer and that kind of thing. There are birth controls, IUDs, that have no hormones. There's like an acidic, that pro-acidic birth control that I just mentioned that has no hormones in it as well. It just antes up the regular acidic environment in our vaginas that actually is counteract sperm, and that's okay. Those are ways to stop contraception, or to stop conception. It's contraception without hormones. Now, the hormones aren't the enemy. There are hormones, actually birth control pills, and really it's a combination of estrogen and progestin, reduces our risk of ovarian cancer, reduces our risk of colon cancer. Yes, actually reduces our risk of uterine cancer. Breast cancer, that one, it depends on the type and the family history and that kind of thing, but there are cancer reductions that come from using certain types of hormonal birth control. So that's just to say that hormones are not necessarily the enemy. No. But depending on what how your body interacts, every human is different. You know, you may want to use something without hormones at all.
I have so many more questions, but I'll just have to pray that I can come back.
I mean, there is so much, because you even use birth control when you're going through an IVF cycle. So, I mean, Dr. Wendy, please come back and tell us more.
I look forward to it.
Oh, yes, we will talk to you later. All right, so here's Dr. Wendy's information there on your screen. Check her out. She has lots of great information.